What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Untitled Gaming Channel. I'm AJ Gels. How's it going? Welcome back once more to the weekly show. You're new to this program. Basically what I do, I sit down, I gather news from around the web, be it Game Informer, IGN, Polygon, yada, yada, yada. This week was mostly IGN. I had a busy week and I was lazy. Either way, I gather news from around the web, sit down, we'll talk news, we'll enjoy talking about video games, or hopefully enjoy talking about video games, I guess. If you want to go visit any of these sites to read any of the articles for yourself, follow any hyperlinks, anything like that, you can find all those links down in the description below. I actually urge you to go into the description below, follow the links. These are the people that do the real journalism. I just am a fat kid who sits in an apartment and gives my takes on shit. That's just kind of how I am. Other than that, there's also timestamps, so you can kind of skip around for articles as you wish. Is there anything else? I think that's all the official stuff. Thanks for watching. I know it's like 10:30 in the morning, and if anybody's seen my stuff before, knows my internet, my apartment's really shitty, so it's going to be, this isn't going up at noon like I want it to, but that's because I got distracted last night playing MLB The Show, and it was like 3 in the morning before I went to bed, and then I woke up, and I have a hard out at noon. I have something I have to go to. There'll also be another news video if anybody's interested in seeing anything on the game. I'm going to try and get the title right here. I believe it is Mutant... God, I can't remember. It's Mutant Exodus... Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden. I think that's what it is. It's some really long title. It's based off a tabletop RPG, sort of XCOM-ish. Really interesting from everything I've seen of it. I have like a 31-minute gameplay video from Game Informer, an article on IGN and PC Gamer. I'd tag those onto the weekly show, except it would make everything way too freaking long. And like I said, I have a hard out at noon. As you can see at the bottom of my screen, it's 10:31. So this is what we're doing. Obviously, as the title suggested, we're gonna be talking about Spider-Man. Yeah, Spider-Man releases exclusively on PlayStation 4 on September 7th. Article Andrew Reiner, Game Informer. Got to admit, this surprised me a little because all I was hearing was summer release, summer release, summer release. I was getting excited, going, all right, sweet. I was bullshitting with Samori Roden on Twitter. I think I just pulled the date July 8th out of my ass, and I was so ready to laugh when that turned out to be the release date. And then I saw it was September 7th, and I got really sad because I'm just like, that's not a summer release. I guess it is technically, but I want it now. But all in all, I'm super pumped for this game. This is a great year for Spider-Man. To kind of continue off that thought, this is a great year for Spider-Man. I mean, we got that trailer for the Venom film with Tom Hardy. Movie looks great. I think it looks more like a horror/thriller movie more than it does like a superhero film. But I can't remember when that comes out. Does that come out? If anybody out there knows, does that come out by the end of the year? It might. Just can't remember. We also have Into the Spider-Verse. That film looks really interesting. A really neat animated Spider-Man movie. I think I saw that trailer when I went to see Ready Player One, and really caught my eye. Just a really neat style. I like the whole Spider-Verse thing, and when we mix all the Spider-Man characters. So I'm stoked to see that, and obviously, like we're saying, September 7th, Insomniac Spider-Man. Super pumped. Let's get into the article. This is a really short one, but I got a couple more articles on Spider-Man for you. Game Informer's May issue is filled with new Spider-Man details, including the release date. Good news, Spider-Man fans. You don't have to wait long to swing across New York on a web line. Insomniac Games and Sony Interactive Entertainment are releasing Spider-Man exclusively on PlayStation 4 on September 7th. Now, wait long that's kind of a relative term, because I think that's kind of a long time. That's like 3 months, but whatever. If my math is correct, that's 155 days from now. If you want to know what to expect, our cover story outlines into the opening moments of the game. After a fun introductory story sequence, we played through the first mission, which pits Spidey against a prominent villain, and then spent a significant amount of time exploring the open world, taking on its many tasks and side activities. Our cover story offers information on Spider-Man's upgrades, leveling, and suit crafting. Yes, you can bring back some of Spider-Man's most beloved looks and of which there are many. The 14-page story is a thorough breakdown of what we saw, including insight from Insomniac's development team. Again, the release date is September 7th, and it can't come soon enough. For more on Spider-Man, including video interviews with Insomniac and more, click on the banner below, and again, you can go into the description below, excuse me, and click on the banners and follow any hyperlinks. Yeah, like I said, September 7th, saying it's not that far away. Yeah, it's pretty far away, especially if you're excited. I'm super pumped. I can't wait. It's freaking... It's Arkham meets Spider-Man. Granted, there's no Batman, but you know what? It looks like Arkham gameplay with Spider-Man. Yes! Let's see here. Marvel Spider-Man gameplay story details revealed. Article Jonathan Dornbush. I keep trying to combine words. Jonathan Dornbush, IGN. Article reads, Insomniac Games' Marvel Spider-Man officially has a release date, and with that reveal has come plenty of new information on the web-slinger's next adventure. Game Informer's cover story and supplementary interview with creative director Brian Intihar, hopefully that's correct, dives deep into the opening of the game, while also offering plenty of new story details. If you've already read up the newest updates regarding the game's unlockable costumes and lack of microtransactions, check out what else GI's story has revealed. And we're going to be talking about that stuff in the next article. I just thought story details were more important. Mr. Negative and Kingpin have already been revealed as villains appearing in Spider-Man, and while it's almost certainly not the extent of the full Rogues Gallery, GI's time with the game hinted at or showed off via gameplay another handful of villains. Shocker sporting some Iron Man-esque armor appears as part of a side quest, and the game's introductory sequence, which includes a look at Peter Parker's apartment, hints at Rhino, Scorpion, and Vulture at least having had a presence in New York thanks to the Daily Bugle clipouts. While not part of the main game, the already confirmed DLC will feature new story content. The first 3 planned DLC packs involve Black Cat. Let's take a look at some concept art. Already sweet. Already into it. Kind of looks like my apartment. Still love that. I love this guy's design. And Mr. Negative. I don't know my Spider-Man. I don't know I don't really read comic books. I know Spider-Man more from cartoons, and I don't really know Mr. Negative. God, again, I love the Mr. Negative design. I just like the white, the black. Yeah, it looks sweet. I just had a thought. This might be, this probably won't happen, but this would be really cool if it did. If, as you complete, like, side missions or whatever, like copies of Daily Bugles, like, you'll get, like, clip outs of, like, little side missions or little this, that, the other thing. All I'm hoping that isn't there is it's just, hey, a building's on fire, rescue all these people. Yay, you did it, and you're going to do the same thing 80 times. Ooh, there's a car chase. Stop the car chase. If you're going to give me side missions or give me side stuff to do, have it all be a little different. Not just, let me, here, do this activity a million freaking times. That would be a little annoying. Also, I'm sitting here, because I know Mary Jane is in this game. Part of me is sitting here kind of hoping that with, like DLC packs, if we include Black Cat, there's some sort of like, I'm gonna be honest, I love romance in games. Everybody wants to bash on it, so the mechanics are crap, which it's not true. But I kind of hope that there's some sort of like story with Black Cat. I can't. Is Felicia Hardy? Is that her name? I think it's Felicia something. I think it's Felicia Hardy. I'm going with that right now. That it's her and Mary Jane kind of butt heads a little bit over Peter. I'm really hoping that happens. Just I know some people are going to sit there and go, why is it necessary? It's just I like it. Again, that's kind of what I liked about the cartoons. I'm excited. I just to get that to be less awkward, I just say I'm excited. All right, let's see. Let's keep going. Truly marvelous New York City. While Insomniac has gone to great lengths to create a realistic version of New York City featuring iconic landmarks and the city's familiar layout, some liberties have been taken. The rings, particularly That rings particularly true for fictional buildings that hint at the wider Marvel Universe. The Wakanda Embassy, Avengers Tower, and Sanctum Sanctorum are all features in Marvel Spider-Man. However, Insomniac would not confirm or deny whether any of the characters associated with these buildings feature in the game at all. And so while Spider-Man will obviously focus in on Spidey's specific world, it's clear Insomniac has built out a world that acknowledges the larger Marvel universe. I mean, that's kind of what Marvel is. I mean, Marvel does always tie in with itself. So I wouldn't be surprised to actually see these characters. I believe it was Ultimate Spider-Man. I think I played that on the OG Xbox. That, you know, like you'll web race the Human Torch, or you'll see Wolverine, or like Wolverine and Spider-Man are friends. You know, I mean, there's just like weird crossovers. So it wouldn't surprise me to see any sort of Marvel crossovers. As far as the map goes, I think I saw it's like twice the size of Sunset Overdrive, and Sunset Overdrive was massive. For what, I mean, you wouldn't realize how big Sunset Overdrive's was because of how easy it was to get around. So I think that's the same thing with this Spider-Man one. I think it's going, from everything I've seen, it's so easy to move and chain moves together, whether it's running up buildings, web slinging, this, that, the other thing. That it's going to be a really big city, but it doesn't feel that big. It's really easy to get around it. It's kind of like Far Cry 5. I think I read somewhere that it actually takes, if you were to walk from one side to the other, it would take you about 45 minutes, like on foot. But it's actually really easy to move around in that world, whether it be by car or plane or helicopter, whatever. A similar thing here, that it's really easy to move around if you have, you know, it's really easy to move around with the powers of Spider-Man, just, again, like Sunset. I just want to get my hands on this. Again, I'm going to keep coming. I don't have a better transition. I just really want my hands on it. I really want to get my hands on this game, man. See here, Insomniac made a splash. Let's see, new duds. Insomniac made a splash with its new design for Spider-Man. A large white spider symbol adorned on its suit instead of a familiar black spider design, according to GI's playthrough. Excuse me. The more iconic suit is what Spider-Man is wearing at the very outset of the game. The white suit's development is tied to the story, so Insomniac doesn't reveal much to GI about how it comes to be. The only tease the developers gave was that the white spider suit may be tied to into Peter's scientific pursuits. It wouldn't surprise me. I mean, when I saw this suit, first of all, I just kind of thought, oh, this is because, well, apparently if it's tied into the story, that's interesting. But honestly, when I saw this suit, I was just thinking, okay, this is their spider suit. Kind of like with the Andrew Garfield movies, which I'll still defend. I didn't mind those. The Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. His suit was not the traditional Spider-Man. I can't remember. Was his black? Was his blue? Like the spider logo. I don't remember it being black. I remember it being either white or blue. But yeah, I'm really interested to see what the crafting system works like, how that works, because you can craft other spider costumes. Like I said, we'll cover that in the next article. But or at least we'll talk about more costume stuff in the next article. But I know there's like suit crafting and there's certain stuff like that. I want to know how that works, and I want a breakdown of that. No balloons, but plenty of other activities. Marvel's Spider-Man is not going to feature a well-known side quest from the beloved Spider-Man 2 video game, hunting down balloons, but the city will be packed with optional activities. One example includes Spidey scouring the city for backpacks he had previously webbed up, taking down Kingpin-controlled outposts, stopping random crimes, which can even take you into the interior of buildings, and taking photos of gold cats for Black Cat. Again, the random crime stuff, that can be done well, or that can be done absolutely terribly. And I really hope it's not just a constant, it's like I said earlier, here's this car, it's a car chase, you gotta stop the car chase. Oh yeah, there's a building on fire, you gotta stop it. Oh no. Because that shit just gets old really fast. It's here. And Taskmaster also appears, doling out, well, tasks to Peter in the form of bombs placed throughout the city. Spidey must defuse. Completing these tasks earns Peter crafting materials that can be used for gadget upgrades. Well, there we go. There we go, crafting materials. So that's in there. It's see, when it said crafting new suits, I wasn't sure if it was like a skill-based system. Like, is it like complete this like little skill challenge and you'll get this suit? So no, apparently there's crafting materials. So I'm gonna guess there's like legit crafting. Because again, there's gadget upgrades, there's skill upgrades. I want to know how much depth there is here. Like, are they going to go like almost full blown RPG, or what are they going to do here? Spider-Man can also interact with New York City citizens as their friendly neighborhood hero. Spidey can high five, take selfies, and point finger guns at passers nearby. That's fun. That's gonna be fun. There's one other thing that was popping into my head that's kind of that's kind of like in out. Can't remember. Oh. Yeah, now I remember what it was. I'm kind of hoping that we get to be Peter, like regular Peter, out in the world. Not just like, because we've seen like small segments where he is just himself, but I want to see like Peter Parker out in the world. Like, can we like explore New York as Peter Parker? Like, go into the subway and or just walk around and see something, run into the alley and do that Superman thing where they pull it from the first Spider-Man movie where he opens his shirt and it's the Spider-Man costume. Yeah, can we do that? Can we? See here, Peter and MJ. The game's story takes place over the course of a few weeks, according to Intihar. God. But much of what happens in those weeks still remains a mystery. While we already know Mary Jane Watson is in the game as a playable character, we'll talk about that in a later article. Intihar seems quite excited for players to experience her part in the story. And I quote, Mary Jane is going to surprise a lot of people in this game. A lot of people, end quote, Intihar told GI. What we do know is she's aware of Spider-Man's true identity, but she and Peter are currently not romantically involved. Ooh, interesting. I'm kind of hoping that might actually mean what I was talking about Black Cat earlier might actually happen. I'm holding out my hope. I'm holding out hope. This is the final little bit of this article. The homecoming approached Uncle Ben. On another story note, Intihar was adamant you won't be seeing the death of Uncle Ben in Insomniac's Spider-Man outing. Boo! And I quote, hell no, he adamantly said to GI about the possibility. This is, of course, the route Spider-Man Homecoming took to with the third big screen version of Peter Parker. Well, I mean, I guess I understand it. I mean, with how big of an IP Spider-Man is, everybody knows the story of Uncle Ben. So it makes sense not to show it again because it would just be redundant after a while. Honestly, I didn't see Spider-Man Homecoming, and I'm gonna get probably some shit for that because I really do love Spider-Man. He's my favorite Marvel hero, but I just can't watch the MCU anymore. If they did a Spider-Man movie that wasn't MCU, I'd watch it. Like the Andrew Garfield ones, I'd watch another Andrew Garfield. Hell, I kind of wanted a third one after what happened in that last one. I think they had a setup to do some really interesting things, but they just didn't. You know, because then Sony was partnering back up with MCU so they could do an MCU Spider-Man, and I wasn't interested. Moving on. Next article, Joe Scrubble's IGN. Marvel Spider-Man features unlockable suits, no microtransactions. Seeing right here, it says unlockable suits. Is it crafting or unlockable? I'm not getting a straight answer on that one. Marvel Spider-Man will feature unlockable Spidey suits, which come with distinct abilities, and you won't be able to get them through microtransactions, it seems. I'm still hoping there's a Spider-Man Noir costume. I really want that. As part of a Game Informer cover feature, Insomniac revealed 3 new suits, some more certain than others beyond the developer's own new costume. Spider-Punk, part of the game's pre-order bonus, is the combination of a sleeveless denim jacket with a spike mohawk and the strange ability of allowing Peter to pull out a guitar and play Sonic Shockwave knockdown attack. Awesome. Oh, I was right. Oh, I didn't read this carefully. There's a Noir costume. Seemingly based off the Spidey spin-off set in 1933, no ability has been shown off of this darker suit as yet. Well, I mean, Spider-Man Noir, he has fewer spider powers than the typical Peter Parker. if it play I can't remember which Spider-Man game it was. There was a Spider-Man game where you played as 4 different Spider-Man. There was Amazing Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, Spider-Man Noir, and Spider-Man 2099. It was a really cool game. But the Noir Spider-Man, all of his sequences were all based around stealth. Because, like I said, he has fewer spider powers. His strength isn't as much as normal Spider-Man, so he has to rely on stealth. It's a really interesting concept. I like Noir Spider-Man, so I'm interested to see. Maybe it gives you less health and less strength, but you have better stealth abilities. I want to see what happens with that. And finally, the wrestling suit. This hasn't been formally shown off, but a poster in Peter's apartment shows his getup when facing Crusher Hogan. Oh God. It sounds as though suits won't be in short supply. GI mentions that it saw at least a dozen in a menu, and that creative director Brian Intihar confirmed that the menu didn't show all of them off. Alongside Spider-Punk, 2 more suits are due to be announced as pre-order bonuses, and each of the game's 3 DLC packs will come with at least 1. Aside being purchase bonuses and part of wider packs, you almost certainly won't be able to buy individual suits as microtransactions. GI confirms that, and I quote, "There won't be any microtransactions for crafting materials or other in-game items," end quote. Brian Intihar had a pretty simple response when asked about the possibility of any microtransactions in the game, and I quote, "Hell no," end quote. Marvel Spider-Man is due for blah, 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 blah. Okay, why would you ask if there's going to be microtransactions? When it comes to a single-player game, if somebody wants to say, hey, you can buy crafting materials for this much of a price, why do you care if somebody does it in their own game and not your? That doesn't make sense to me. I just, why do you care? Why is that an issue? I keep saying it. The microtransaction thing just doesn't really bother me. I just think that's a weird question to ask about this game and a weird thing to talk about in this game. I don't know. Maybe other people say no microtransactions whatsoever, but it's not a multiplayer game. It's a single-player game. If they want to sell people stuff so they can buy costumes or they can buy this or whatever, I don't care. Especially if you can also unlock them by just playing the game. Okay, in a single-player game, as far as I've seen, this game doesn't have multiplayer, and dear God, I hope it doesn't. But in a single-player game, they offer somebody the ability to buy something for their own playthrough, but you can get it in your playthrough without having to spend any extra money. Who gives a shit? I just don't get it. But again, that's just me. Moving on, the final Spider-Man article we have for this week. Marvel Spider-Man Mary Jane is a playable character. Ooh. Article just scribbles IGN. Apparently, Insomniac won't say if we get to play as Miles Morales. Or Miles Morales. Is Miles Morales? I can never remember how his name is pronounced. Either way, I have a strong bet that we'll play. If we don't play as Miles in the main campaign, we'll play as Miles in the in one of the DLC packs. That's my guess. Article just scribbles IGN. After the latest trailer for Insomniac's Spider-Man game, many thought they'd spotted a moment that indicated a longtime Spidey cast member Mary Jane Watson would be playable, and Insomniac has now addressed that idea. And I quote, "Yeah," end quote, said creative director Brian Intihar, speaking to IGN, and I quote, "I can confirm, yes, you actually play at various stages of the game Mary Jane," end quote. While he wouldn't be drawn on specifics, Intihar did hint that there would be more to playing Mary Jane, there we go, than simply guiding her around story sections, and I quote, "It's a very different experience to playing a Spider-Man," he said. Well, duh. And it stays true to her character. In terms of her background, that she's a reporter for the Daily Bugle, it captures that feeling. Also, the other thing for us is that even though we are creating a superhero world in the fantasy, we thought it'd be interesting to show what it's like to be a character who doesn't have superpowers, what it's like to be that person in a superhero world and actually control that character, end quote. Going by her discovery of the Devil's Breath bioweapon in the story trailer, Intihar could be hinting at detective-like gameplay with MJ. Oh, that would be interesting. He also indicated that MJ herself would be slightly different to her traditional on-screen duplicate. or depictions, excuse me. And I quote, "I really like her role in the game, and to put her in a role that maybe we haven't seen as much. It's less of a damsel in distress. She's much more of a capable God damn it, I can't read today. Capable contributor, a risk taker in the game," end quote. Although I guess people would question if I can read any other day. Since the appearance of sometime Spider-Man Miles Morales in the game's E3 trailer, there have been questions as to whether he'll become a playable character alongside Peter Parker. Unfortunately, Intihar gave a firm no comment on the possibility. I'm still willing to bet yes, although he did point out that we would spend some time playing as Parker out of costume. Sweet! And it again sounds like more than simple story beats. And I quote, I think to give a true Spider-Man experience, Peter's just as important," he explained. And you saw some of that in the trailer. You also saw that he is playable. We're not going to talk about what that experience is, but I do think you need to experience being Peter to get the full Spider-Man experience, and it's fun, end quote. I agree with that. And then there's all that stuff. You can read all that and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, overall, I'm stoked for the game. Really interested to see what it's going to be. Honestly, I kind of like what he's saying about playing as Mary Jane. I'm just really interested to see what those chunks are. Same with Peter. I'm glad we get to play as like normal people and not all in the costume. But I want to know what exactly we're doing in those segments. And I get it. They don't want to talk about it just yet. You want us to experience it on our own. But I'm really interested to see what those are. Now that I've spent about 27 some minutes talking about Spider-Man, the title of this video said Spider and the Dragon, among other stuff. So I'm gonna give this game just a little bit of a spotlight. I really don't have anything much other than this got announced, and I'm not happy about it because I didn't like Spyro in the first place. Also, my ex-girlfriend loves Spyro, and it makes me sad to think about. Why do you do this to me? Article Jonathan Dornbush, IGN, Spyro Reignited Trilogy announced, release date revealed. After months of rumors and weeks of teases, Spyro the Dragon is officially back, and he's returning in time for the Purple Dragon's 20th anniversary. Activision announced today that Spyro Reignited Trilogy, developed by Skylanders devs Toys for Bob, the trilogy will include Spyro's 3 original PS1 outings, Spyro the Dragon, Spyro 2, Ripto's Rage, and Spyro Year of the Dragon, with new remastered graphics, sound available on the PS4, PS4 Pro, Xbox One, and Xbox One X on September 21st. Debut trailer right there. You can go check that out on your own time. Spyro Reignited Trilogy is currently available for pre-order and will cost $39.99 on both platforms. For plenty more information, check out IGN's interviews with members of Toys for Bob development team. As a nod to the franchise's heritage, Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy North American owners can enter the iconic code up, down, left, right, square in the menu of Crash Bandicoot. God damn it. In the menu of Crash Bandicoot Warped to watch the trailer 2. The original 3 games were developed by Marvel Spider-Man dev Insomniac Games. Oh, really? Why did I not know that? I should have known that. Who Toys for Bob showed earlier iterations of the game to for feedback, though Insomniac is in no way officially involved with the trilogy's development or production. Toys for Bob began working with Spyro on the Toys for Life game Skylanders Spyro's Adventures. Have you looked at that thing? It looks disgusting. Their version of Spyro. He just looks gross. The game will feature a reimagining of Stuart Copeland's beloved soundtrack for the first 3 games, while the team also endeavored to work with as many original cast members as possible in re-recording the voice acting. Of course, Spyro had 2 different voices across the 3 games. Both Tom Kenny, who voiced Spyro in Ripto's and Year, has returned to voice him for all 3 remastered games. Toys for Bob studio head Paul Yan and art director Josh Nadelberg could not comment on whether PC or Nintendo Switch versions of the game were being considered. They did, however, speak exclusively to IGN about gameplay changes, the voice acting changes, and whether they discussed the remaster with Insomniac in the interview below. Again, there's a 4-some-minute video. Due to time constraints, I won't be showing that. Spyro the Dragon's return has been speculated for months, particularly after the success of last year's Crash. I cannot enunciate right now. Jesus. Last year's Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, that fervor picked up this week when IGN received a scaly purple egg hinting at Spyro's return, which was followed by a series of clues indicating the beloved character's return. There's one thing that popped up. Nintendo Switch release is about the one thing this game can do to guarantee that I will pick it up and play it. I mean, I'll still probably play it for the channel. I won't like it, but I'll probably play it. In all honesty, if I'm being totally honest, Spyro is one of those games that interested me, but God, did I even have a PS1? I think I went straight from my N64 to a PS2. So, I never played, I don't really think I ever got into the Spyro games at a young age. I never really played the Spyro games. So, I mean, it's just one of those things that doesn't have like that nostalgia factor to me. But I am interested to see them, so I will play them, all bullshit and jokes aside. But yeah, if you want to guarantee that I would buy this, put it on the Switch. I would buy that in a heartbeat. I think that's a great console to put that sort of game on. Just because I think how the game is visually, I think the Switch is the perfect place for that. But there we go, guys. There's the end of the first block of articles. I'll load up the next block and we'll pick up in a second. Alright guys, we're back. I actually moved some stuff around because I think what I was talking about with the Spyro game, about how put that thing on Switch and I definitely buy it, I think that kind of leads into this next story. That is Firewatch announced for Nintendo Switch. Ooh, the original story by, who is the writer? Joe Screbbles, IGN. Acclaimed indie adventure Firewatch is coming to Nintendo Switch this spring, announced by developer Campo Santo. The Switch port doesn't appear to include any extra features, but there's a very nice picture of it being played next to some hiking boots, so that's something. There's no more specific release date beyond spring at time of writing. We awarded Firewatch a 9.3, saying it's, and I quote, a game I can see coming back to every year or two just to revisit the beautiful sights and memorable characters, just like a good book. Now's our chance. Indie games have been performing rather well in the Switch's first year on the market. Nintendo recently revealed the top 10 bestsellers. Campo Santo will be hoping it can crack that lineup too. The update. As it turns out, there are Switch-specific upgrades for this port. In a separate post on the Campo Santo blog, writer-designer Jack Rodkin explains, and I quote, we've been hard at work stripping much of Firewatch's tech down to the studs and rebuilding it to render the world more quickly, to stream and load faster, and to generally be more responsive, end quote. He adds that those optimizations should hopefully be rolled out to other versions of the game after the Switch release. And I quote, plus, Rodkin adds, we're hoping to throw in a couple surprises just for the Switch release, end quote. I probably won't buy this game again for the Switch because I have it for the PS4. Absolutely loved it. I absolutely loved this game. And I don't know why. I'm usually not into these kind of like artsy indie games, but it was the art style. It was walking around the world. There was just something about Firewatch that really drew me in. And I think drew in a lot of other people. So, I don't know if anybody else is interested, if anybody else just skipped on it. If you have a Switch, buy it. Buy this. I highly doubt that they're going to sell it for any more than $20. That was, I think, what they sold it for the first time around. Great value. Go check this game out if you can. Firewatch, Nintendo Switch, whenever it drops. I don't know. I don't think we have a specific release date, but go check it out. I think I gave this an 8. They gave it a 9.3. I think I gave it an 8. I'd have to go double check on my website, but check it out. It's a really cool game. Really. On to another cool game that doesn't need any extra crap thrown onto it. PAX East 2018. We got some weird news out of PAX this year. Final Fantasy 15. 4 new story DLC episodes coming in 2019. Article Andrew Goldfarb, IGN. Excuse me. During a panel at PAX East today, Square Enix confirmed that 4 additional DLC episodes are coming to Final Fantasy 15 in 2019. The episodes will portray an, and I quote, alternate grand finale, end quote, for the game, showing, and I quote, a future everyone longed for, end quote, meaning a possible outcome that could have existed for each of 4 characters. Okay. quick spoilers for Final Fantasy 15 if you care. You're going to mess with that ending? That ending was great. That ending was amazing. With Noctis dying, I guess, and then, him sitting down in the throne, Luna putting her head on his arm, and then it shoots out to become the logo for Final Fantasy 15. It was a great ending. I mean, at least maybe not narratively. Narratively, it was good, but just visually, that ending was phenomenal. Okay, spoilers done. The first full episode will focus on Arden and is tentatively titled "The Conflict of the Sage." The episode, and I quote, portrays the struggles of Arden, witness the resentment he harbored towards Lucius for over 2,000 years, and his clashes with the Astrals, end quote. You can also see him go into ancient Egypt because he was in Assassin's Creed Origins for some odd reason. A smaller side story episode will focus on Arnea Highwind, I think that's how it's pronounced, of the Niflheim Empire, and will focus on the Star Scourge disease, and I quote, the final day of the Empire turns out to be Arnea's worst day, end quote, Square Enix teased. A second full episode will let you play as Luna Freya, there we go, and has the working title The Choice of Freedom. The story is, and I quote, about Luna's fate, which not even death can free her from. Her battle to save the one she loves overturns the destiny dealt to the Lucian King, end quote. The final episode is titled The Final Strike and focuses on Noctis, and I quote, parting way with the Astrals as he, and I quote, embarks upon his final battle in order to attain the ideal future for all his people, end quote. The episodes will be released in 2019 and will also feature a new theme by composer Yoko Shimomura. There we go. Square Enix will release more details later this year. Today's announcement confirms previous reports that Final Fantasy 15 DLC would continue into 2019. In the past, Final Fantasy 15 director Hajime Tabata confirmed an episode focusing on Arden and previously told IGN that Luna Freya was another potential focus for a DLC episode. The decision to make additional DLC follows a survey of players last year that, okay, more stuff. Again, you can follow this in the description below. Loved Final Fantasy 15. Didn't play any of the DLC in episodes. Just did not interest me in the least. If y'all want to see a Final Fantasy 15 Let's Play, I'll do it. It would be one of the most... I'd have to figure out how to do it. It would be how I'd have to do like The Witcher, just because I like to do as much as I can, and there's just so much stuff in the Final Fantasy 15, just so much just side random crap to do. So if you want to see that stuff, tell me, but I'll have to figure out and finagle how I'm gonna actually do that Let's Play series. And you know what? Hell, then I'd splurge and buy the DLC packs and we'll watch those. But I've not played the DLC packs, so maybe I'm sitting here bitching in there. They're actually pretty good. I've heard from some people that the DLC packs are actually pretty good. But I've also heard from other people who just kind of looked at me and said, nah, you don't need to play them. So I'm not going to say whether or not they're good, but this just seems... Just let Final Fantasy 15 be. I think it was a great game on its own. I mean, that opening scene, again, this isn't really a spoiler. This is like the first scene of the game. When all four of them, when Gladio, Noctis, Ignis, and Prompto were all pushing that car at the very beginning of the game. You have Benny King's, oh my god. I can't, what's the name of the song? I know the song. I love the song, and I can't think of it right now. Oh my god. Either way, this is a great song. They're pushing this car. A phenomenal moment in the game. Again, it was like right off the bat, too. So, again, I just kind of wish they'd let Final Fantasy 15 be. I mentioned earlier how Final Fantasy 15 ended up in Assassin's Creed Origins. I showed that on the channel, too. Well, apparently PAX East also revealed that Final Fantasy 15 and Shadow of the Tomb Raider will be having a collaboration. Yeah. Article Andrew Goldfarb, IGN. It's like mixing peanut butter and cyanide. Just two things that don't need to be... I just turned off my monitor. scared, guys. All right. Well, sorry about that. That was an accident. Yeah, this doesn't need to happen, and we're letting it. Article Andrew Goldfarb, IGN. During a panel at PAX East today, Square Enix announced that a collaboration between Final Fantasy XV and Shadow of the Tomb Raider is on the way. Why? A single image shown at the end of a panel teased the news, but no other information was revealed other than it's coming soon. Final Fantasy XV is no stranger to collaborations, recently adding Assassin's Creed outfits and Half-Life Pack on PC in recent months. Shadow of the Tomb Raider was officially announced last month with information full blah 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 27th of this month, so in 20 days. Again, both Square Enix titles. I added this one just because this is an odd thing to talk about. Just what would it be? Is it going to be like literally? Are we going to see some sort of like weird crossover in both of these games, or is it just or because I really hope that doesn't happen? Because if they ruin Shadow of the Tomb Raider with some sort of weird wacky crossover, no, 2 out of 10. That game immediately drops because I'm really interested to see what Square Enix does with the final iteration of the Tomb Raider franchise that they're making. But I mean, this could be fun. This could be good. I could be sitting here and just being a curmudgeon. But dear God, if they mess this up, I'm going to be super pissed with some sort of like weird collaboration. I feel bad. Like these last 2 stories, I really didn't have anything to talk about. I just thought people would like to know this, and I wanted to sit here and complain and say this is a thing. This shouldn't happen. Nah. Moving on. Something people have been. A few people sent me on Twitter. Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher teased for Ghost Recon Wildlands crossover. Article Michael McWhirter of Polygon. Now, on the one hand, this makes perfect sense. Because somewhere in here it said, what is it? Ghost Recon Wildlands previous crossover included the Predator, and alongside Far Cry 5's quirky downloadable content plans in Rainbow Six's Siege's Alien Infestation update, Ubisoft isn't shy about getting a little weird with its properties. Okay. 1. Putting the Predator in Wildlands is goofy, but at the same time, it kind of makes sense. I mean, it's the jungle and all that stuff. Far Cry 5 is weird, but Far Cry's had a lot of weird DLCs. I mean, if we might remember Blood Dragon. And I'm not going to talk about Rainbow Six Siege because I don't know much about Rainbow Six Siege. I haven't played it. But I think if any of these make the most sense, Splinter Cell and Ghost Recon, I think are almost a perfect fit for each other. I think it would work. Moving into the article, it looks like Splinter Cell's Sam Fisher is back in action and coming to Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. Well, I mean, hell, they're both Tom Clancy series. Ubisoft released a new teaser today that very strongly hints that the star of Splinter Cell is teaming up with Ghost Recon Squad for some action down old South America way. The teaser for a special operation mission named The Call features Fisher, aka Matchwood, clearly voiced by Michael Ironside, responding to a transmission from Paladin, and I quote, Langley has sprung a leak, and they need us to stick our thumb in it. Paladin tells Fisher, brush up on your Spanish, you're headed for Bolivia, end quote. And I quote, look, I may need some extra firepower, Fisher responds. I've got friends in that neighborhood, call the Ghosts, end quote. Ubisoft promises details on Ghost Recon Wildlands crossover with Splinter Cell next week on Monday, April 9th. Earlier this week, Ubisoft outlined its plans for Year 2 content in Ghost Recon Wildlands, which includes teammate customization and new PvP gameplay mode called Sabotage. Honestly, I have not played Ghost Recon Wildlands in a long time. If anybody out there wants to maybe play, do a little team stuff, maybe I'll splurge and buy some of the DLC and we'll hang out and play some of that. I am like one trophy short of I'm like one trophy short of the platinum, and I really want to get that platinum just because it's, like I said, like one trophy. But again, this is just more PAX news that I find. I feel like all PAX told me this year was, yeah, look at all these weird crossovers. Again, like I said, this crossover makes more sense, but there's one thing that actually made me mad about this, because I've been hearing there's some Splinter Cell stuff in the works. If this is the Splinter Cell stuff that I've been hearing about, I am going to be super pissed. because I have been wanting a new Splinter Cell game for a long time. Look, everybody didn't like that. A lot of people didn't like Conviction. I actually enjoyed it, and honestly, I think Blacklist was underrated. I think a lot of people just kind of ignored it because of Conviction, but I think Blacklist was actually a real kind of like a return to the classic Splinter Cell kind of framework. Hell, I'll probably play both of those on the channel. I have both of them. I like them. But back onto the main points here. This better not be the Splinter Cell that I've been hearing about, because it better not. Just dear God. All right, moving on to our final couple articles again. This was the other stuff that I mentioned in the title of the video. Divinity Original Sin 2 coming to PS4 and Xbox One. Article Jordan Alleman, IGN. Divinity Original Sin 2 is coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One in August 2018. Developer Larian Studios has announced a partnership with Bandai Namco, which will handle publishing duties for the console release. The previously PC exclusive title will come to consoles with an updated user interface, and I quote, tailored for console play, end quote, and retain all the game's multiplayer modes. Console players will be able to enjoy both local split-screen and 4-player online co-op, according to the developer, according to director of publishing Michael Dose, I have no idea, writing on the PlayStation blog. A number of, and I quote, much wanted tweaks and additions, end quote, will also be coming to the game. This will involve, and I quote, additional content, updates, and extra features, end quote, which will be announced close to launch. Dose, however it's pronounced, states that Larian plans to bring, and I quote, the entire experience to a new level, end quote, for the console release. For our thoughts on the epic sequel, check out blah, 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 IGNs. I think they give it a 9.3. I love Divinity Original Sin 2. I have it on PC. I haven't gotten super far into it just because I keep getting distracted, and the game is just super ridiculously fun. But no, really interesting RPG. It's got a nice sense of humor. If you've ever played the original Divinity, it's a kind of an odd game because it's meant to be played in multiplayer. If you also noticed when it said retain all the game's multiplayer modes, like there's a mode in there that you can play you can play tabletop, or you can play the game like a tabletop game with your friends. You have like somebody being a game master, and you have multiple other people, and you're playing like a tabletop, but using Divinity as the framework. It's a really interesting title. The way it does its backstories, the way it does its characters, the way it does just XYZ. The game is really just flat out interesting. And I think this is another story that I don't have much to add. It's just check it out when it comes out in August to these consoles if you didn't play it on PC. Hell, I might actually buy it on console just to buy it because I really like Divinity Original Sin 2. But go check it out if you haven't. It's a really, really neat game. Excuse me. On to our final actual... Sorry, I just got distracted there. On to our final actual article before I have to go. Niantic to pay out $1.6 million in Pokemon Go Fest lawsuit settlement. Look, article Shabana RF IGN. Look, I talked about this a long time. Niantic will write you a check. God damn it, whoever write that, just no. I talked about this when this first happened. I can't believe this is happening. I cannot believe this is actually happening. My God. Oh, the article reads, last year's Pokemon Go Fest was something of a disaster for Niantic, or Niantic. I'm going to pronounce it Niantic because that's how I've always pronounced it. If somebody can give me the phonetic spelling, please do. And the company has settled a class action suit that was filed as a result for almost $1.6 million. The event was plagued with problems from the outset, with the game crashing frequently and leaving most players unable to use the app, including IGN's Andrew Goldfarb, who was in attendance. Okay. That was an internet problem. That was the fact that there were so many people out there trying to play the game. These servers just fried themselves. There were multiple problems, but I wouldn't necessarily blame Niantic for these problems. I mean, they're understandable why you'd be upset, especially there were people who flew in from really far, from another continent for this event, which I think is very odd, but whatever. Just the thing that... There we go. Pause that. That's distracting me. This is just absolutely ridiculous. I cannot believe that they are actually paying people for this. In the wake of the underwhelming festivities, Niantic issued full refunds to the fest attendees. I remember when this first came out. This isn't just like your fees for attending. They were paying, like, these people were suing for hotel fees. These people were suing for that as I would explain this. This is like, I fly into, like, say, like, I fly out to New York to go see a Yankee game, but it rains out and I have to fly out the next day. That's like me suing the Yankees for my ticket. I understand it's not technically the same thing because it's not the Yankees' fault it rained, and it's not. But I still don't blame Niantic for what happened. I still think this is absolute just fucking ridiculous. $100 worth of in-game Pokecoins, and issued an apology with a spokesperson saying the staff were horrified by the situation. Yeah, again, $100 worth of in-game Pokecoins. What does that really cost Niantic anything? Their efforts to smooth things over proved to be insufficient, with the affected parties demanding that their travel costs be reimbursed too. A lawsuit seeking expenses was put together in July last year. See, exactly. God damn it, this pisses me off. TechCrunch reports that Niantic is settling the lawsuit with a $1,575,000 payout to cover the cost of travel, accommodation, car rental, and other expenses incurred by a large chunk of the 20,000 attendees. Are you flipping kidding me? Ridiculous. According to documents from a Chicago court pertaining to the suit, there are a few caveats claiming. Claimants will have had to have checked into the event through the app and will need receipts for expenses amounting to more than $107. Any loose change kicking around after the GoFest attendees' expenses have been covered will be split between the Illinois Bar Foundation and nonprofit Chicago Run, a foundation that organizes youth running programs for kids to promote their health and wellness. Again, can anyone somebody tell me, am I overreacting here? I just find this to be absolutely ridiculous that they're paying out for this. I'm mostly adding this because I talked about this when it first happened, called it ridiculous then, still think it's dumb. And it's 1.6 million, and I get it, to Niantic with what they've made with Pokemon Go, that's a drop in the hat. I mean, that's really not much, I guess, to them. But still, I think this is ridiculous. Nah. Hate ending the show when I'm mad, but thanks for watching, guys. That's about all I got for you this week. On the news side, like I said, we'll be talking about Mutant Year Zero Road to Eden in a later video. Thanks for watching. Facebook, Twitter, the website, minds.com. Links to all that stuff is down in the description below. Like, comment, if you're not already. Please subscribe to the channel. You can send me links to anything that I might have missed this week, and I'll either do a video on that article or throw it in next week if you send me links in the comments or on social media. I'll try and be... I felt like I was kind of all over the place in this one. I'll try and be a little bit more on point next week, as well as on time. But thanks for watching anyways. Like I said, social media in the description. Like, comment, not already. Please subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, everybody. And until next time, I'm AJ Gels, the See On Gaming channel. I'm out.